For over 3 years, he was a ghost, a fugitive who committed an unthinkable crime and then simply vanished. He eluded a multi-agency manhunt, his face broadcast on national television, yet he remained a whisper, a phantom on the run. How then does such a man get found? Not by a covert informant or a high-stakes police raid, but by a single video on a social media application, a digital message in a bottle cast into a global sea. To understand the extraordinary answer, we must first return to the question. We must go back to a Florida cemetery and to a meeting that a young mother hoped would be a new beginning, but which became a final, tragic end. Joana Peca was 27 years old. To her mother, Eleni, she was a treasured only child. To her own 2 young sons, she was the center of their world. Her life was one defined by a deep and abiding love for her family. But it was a life complicated by a fractured relationship with Benjamin Williams, the father of her infant son, from whom she was estranged. So, when Williams telephoned on the 31st of July, 2021, Joana was pleased. He wanted to meet, he said, to finally see their child. The proposed location lent his request an air of sincerity. Woodlawn Memorial Gardens Cemetery in St. Petersburg. It was the final resting place of Williams's own sister. To Joana, this choice suggested a desire for amends, a meeting on sacred ground. It was a gesture she chose to trust, a hope that Williams at last wished to be a father to their son. She could not have known that instead of smoothing relations, he allegedly arrived armed with a pistol. At 5:30 in the evening, Joana sat waiting in her van. She was cradling her baby in her arms. In the back seat, her 4-year-old son watched and waited with her. Witnesses in the quiet cemetery would later recall hearing the sudden, sharp report of gunfire. They rushed towards the van, attempting to render aid, but it was tragically too late. Benjamin Williams, it is alleged, had approached the driver's side door, fired multiple times, and fled the scene. The true horror of that day is almost impossible to articulate. In the immediate aftermath, Joana's mother, Eleni, was told a gut-wrenching detail by her 4-year-old grandson. He said that he had tried to clean the blood from his mother's face, but his hands were too small. Benjamin Williams, a man many knew by the incongruous nickname Bambi, was immediately identified as the prime suspect, but he had vanished. A massive manhunt began, a multi-agency effort involving the St. Petersburg police and the US Marshals. The sheer brutality of the crime stunned even seasoned investigators. As Chief Anthony Holloway stated to reporters, Williams goes up to his girlfriend, who is holding his baby in her arms, and he shoots her several times. I don't know what it would take a person to do that. But the trail went cold. Days turned into months, and months into years. 3 years of frustration and heartbreak engulfed Joana's family. Authorities offered a $25,000 reward. They distributed posters warning that Williams used disguises, including women's clothing, to evade capture. The case was even featured on the prominent cold case program In Pursuit with John Walsh. Yet, despite all these efforts, Williams remained a ghost. For the family and investigators, a sense of hopelessness began to set in. Then, in an age of billion-dollar manhunts and sophisticated surveillance, The breakthrough came from the most unexpected of places. An amateur sleuth named Jasmine Alexander, who runs a TikTok page under the handle @TheRealBigDraco, posted a video. It was a simple report on the crime, featuring a news clip and a photo of Williams. It was shared hundreds of times, a digital ripple spreading across the globe. On November 27, 2024, that digital ripple reached a critical shore. A person who had seen the TikTok video contacted the United States Embassy. They knew where Benjamin Williams was. He was living in Mexico City. The years of silence were finally broken. U.S. Marshals were dispatched, and acting swiftly on the tip, they located and apprehended Williams, ending the international manhunt after 3.5 years. Extradited to Miami, the 41-year-old fugitive was then driven personally by a St. Petersburg detective back to the Pinellas County Jail. He had been indicted by a grand jury on 1 count of first-degree murder and 2 counts of child abuse. Williams pleaded not guilty, and the state of Florida announced its intention to seek the death penalty. The road to a reckoning, however, has been a slow one. As of 2026, the case remains in pre-trial proceedings, the wheels of justice turning deliberately, with no trial yet held. For Joanna's mother, Eleni, who had assumed custody of her 2 traumatized grandsons, the arrest brought a profound sense of relief, the first step on a long road towards justice. The digital age has created a new frontier for the vigilant citizen. As the creator of the TikTok post, Jasmine Alexander later reflected, "When it comes to social media, your video can hit at any point in time. I'm hoping this arrest can bring some kind of closure to the family. Justice for Joana Peca may finally be within reach, an outcome delivered by a fusion of tireless police work and a single, powerful act of digital communication. The man accused of her murder now awaits trial, a trial in which the state of Florida intends to seek its gravest sanction, the death penalty itself. Yet whatever verdict a court may one day return, for the 2 children who witnessed the unthinkable, the legacy of that day is a wound that may never fully heal. It serves as a tragic reminder that the true cost of violence is not measured in headlines or manhunts, nor even in the severest of sentences, but in the lives it forever and irreversibly changes.